All right. How's everybody doing today? Today is May 8th, 2025, and you are here with TimberTalk, navigating the political forest, and I'm your host, American Lumberjack. So, over the past few weeks, we have gone over a myriad of things and we have covered a lot of topics. So, today we've kind of ventured into a territory where we get to review a few things, and I'm hoping that you remember some of the things that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks. So, starting off, we're going to go right into it with the Roosevelt Reservation follow up. So, with this situation with the whole Roosevelt Reservation, if you don't know anything about it, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it. We discussed how Trump made a chess move in making this area a militarized zone. And where there is military, there are fences. And where there are fences in the military, it's pretty much illegal to cross. So this has allowed the military to make arrest of illegals who are trying to enter the United States because this zone runs like 400, 500 miles. It's a pretty vast, expansed area. And it has allowed them to make arrest of anyone trying to come in and, you know, enter illegally. It does have port places of entry for people that want to come in for, asylum or whatnot. However, it is not going to be a place where you can just willy nilly jump into. And this is finally something good to see that they're using the military in a positive way to protect the land. Because as the Constitution outlines it, that is what they're really for, is to protect the land. The Pentagon has created a secondary military zone in El Paso area because it's moved into Texas, which extends 53 miles from Fort Bliss Army Base to Fort Hancock. The purpose of this zone is essentially, like I mentioned earlier, for U.S. soldiers to be able to patrol this area, which is on the border, to be able to make arrests. And they have already started making arrests left and right. The decision comes on as a part of the border protection. It's a strategy that has been able to address some of the immigration issues, and Trump already made it to where the crossings had been reduced for the first time to numbers that we've never seen in the United States by 97%. And this right here is really, I mean, really putting a stranglehold on illegal crossings. But also, what this does, it gives us a foothold in fighting the illegal cartels and gangs in a way that puts them on our terms. So we've seen a lot less crossings illegally with drugs and, the mules. And let's be real, the real thing that we're worried about is them trafficking children and women. The public's reaction to this decision has really sparked a myriad of feelings because some don't think it's fair for the military to be able to, play the law, which is actually fundamentally what they're for. They are given orders and they carry out these orders to protect us, which maintains law and order in our communities and in the United States of America. And a lot of people are saying, well, they're doing domestic things. No, it's not really domestic things because they're not arresting Americans. They're arresting individuals that kind of sort of just want to come over and do what they want to do. But this talks about right here, my bad, about how they declared parts of El Paso as a militarized zone as well. And like I mentioned, they are really out to get anyone and everyone that is jumping the border, and it is working fantastically. If you don't believe it yet, watch those border crossing numbers continue to plummet to numbers that have never been seen in the United States before, even at her inception. Speaking of Mexico, let's talk about the dirty Mexican government. Yeah, this woman, who's a Jew, by the way. Well, Jewish. There's a difference. Yeah, she's dirty. I've come to the conclusion that she's in on the take in some way, shape, or form because she denies the assistance from Trump to help fight the cartel. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. President Trump stated that President, I'm going to butcher her name, Sheinbaum, is afraid of the cartels after she rejected his offer. So we do have a video that we could take a look at, and let's give it a listen.
And President Trump's confirmation that he did offer Mexico help in battling that country's drug cartels. Listen here.
If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. But she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight.
The Mexican president saying just a day earlier, U.S. military action inside Mexico was unacceptable and not necessary.
Yeah. She says it's not necessary because she's in on the take. There's no way, if you are fighting a disease in your country, a stain and dregs of society within your country, that you wouldn't accept any and all help that you can get to either mitigate it, reduce it, or stop it in its totality. And the cartel, even though they boast big talk, they're completely afraid of the United States military. And I think this move on Sheinbaum's part has been pretty eye-opening as to why she's made some of the moves she has in dealing with the tariff talk over the past. But even though she bent the knee, I hope she bends the knee in this facet, because it is going to only make Mexico safer and make it more of a viable country. And getting rid of gangs instantaneously brings up your wealth instantaneously, because no one's being extorted, killed, or anything else of the sort. So her response, she highlighted the communication with Trump has been very good. You know, you got to speak good before you jab the knife in someone. But she declined the proposal, indicating that her preference was that Mexico can handle its own security issues. Ms. Sheinbaum, how's that been going over the past few years? How's that been going? How was that going before you took presidency? Because I'm pretty sure all the other presidents were on the take as well, which is crazy to me. I honestly don't understand it. Like I said, I would want any and all help, if necessary, to be able to take care of the problem, and she refuses. So it doesn't look good on her, and it will continue not to look good on her until she learns how to plead for help. In other news, Trump pleads with the SCOTUS to end the TPO on the Venezuelan illegals. The Trump administration has requested that the Supreme Court remove the temporary legal protections for approximately 350,000 Venezuelans currently residing in the United States. Whether they're legal or not, we don't know. That information was not totally released, but we want these people gone. 350,000 people are a lot. And if we don't know if any of them are legal or not, why is the Supreme Court stepping in and upholding something that really has nothing to do with anything? This move could expose these individuals to deportation, which is what we want. We're trying to clean up our streets and make things better for our children, right? These protections were initially granted to the Venezuelans due to an ongoing political economic crisis in their home country, which has led to a widespread instability and humanitarian issues. This is why they were here originally, but why it's still going on is beyond me, because Venezuela has quelched most of its issues. So I don't understand why the Supreme Court continues to agree to protect these people instead of stripping them of this protection and allowing them to be deported. Trump is not doing anything other than trying to make it to where America can be first. And some of the argumentations you'll hear from people is that Tren de Agua, I think I might have said that correctly. I might have butchered it, but who knows? I don't speak it as Spanish. But they're using that narrative as a reason why things aren't safe for these people to return home. So are we now just offering permanent refugeeship in our country, which I find to be absolutely positively disgusting if that is the case, because how is that any different than people just coming in here illegally? All they have to do is just claim asylum from these troubles or woes, or the American government just swoop in and say, hey, we see a problem here, let's make you refugees. And this is what Obama did when he brought all the Somalians over, because Somalia was having all of these issues, and now all of a sudden we have almost 200,000 Somalians brought in under Obama, and they've essentially taken over all of Minnesota. Hell, Minnesota's even changed their flag to accommodate these people. So what more needs to be done to rectify these indiscretions? Because we shouldn't be changing for them. If they're going to come here, they should be changing for us. Realistically, of course, because if we go anywhere else in the world, what happens? We got to learn the language, got to learn how to navigate, we got to learn all of these things. Instead, in America, we're like, it's okay, press 2 for your language or 3 for your language. We'll accommodate you, which no other country in the world really does. For anyone, not just Americans going there, but any other country going there. So you can call us dumb for not speaking multiple language nationally, but we are America for a reason, not the rest of the world. In other news, Republicans deep probe. F these Republicans. Several Republican AGs investigate Google and Apple having Chinese apps on their stores. Now, I mentioned this several times before, but I'm going to mention it here so we can get right back to this. If you see any Republican, Democrat, independent, libertarian, constitutionalist, whatever they espouse to be in Congress coming up in the midterms, who voted to have TikTok banned, but yet bought stock in Meta, or if they didn't do the vote but own stock in Meta, vote them out, because those people are not for you. They're for themselves. We found out that Facebook a couple of weeks ago, when I reported on it, has more leaks than a bucket with shotgun shots in it. It just leaks everywhere, and they're leaking information to China. And it's that we saw the congressional hearing, and they just didn't really have fundamentally an answer for it at all. So what are we to do when this American company is leaking information? We don't say anything. It's okay, slap on the wrist. But if the Chinese company might be leaking information, which they have no real proof of, yeah, ban it. National security. Yeah. However, back to the story. Multiple Republican attorney generals have initiated an investigation into Google and Apple for their roles of hosting apps like TikTok and DeepSeek, which are linked to, Chinese companies. Yeah, but no investigation into TikTok. It's or not TikTok, Facebook. Let them do them, or Instagram, even though they sell our information to the Chinese. Hell, Mark Zuckerberg is banging a Chinese national or dual citizen, whichever, but she ain't American. It is what it is. The investigation is focused on national security concerns. It's always about national security. Yet we got military personnel wanting to blow up people, saying that they were terrorists their whole life. And we have military personnel selling secrets to China. And we have military personnel who are now cops going after stalking people and setting people up for the CCP. So why are we more focused on an app, which has little to do with anything right now? Because you can actually see what data they collect and where it goes if you know where to look. It's not very hard to find. Google it, as the left says. It's there. But it perplexes me that we're less concerned about our military leaking national security things to around the world to known terrorist organizations, and we're more concerned about an app where people make money on it. And it's all because the federal government has no control over it. So they say it's because of national security and privacy concerns and potential Chinese influence in our government. What influence other than these Gen Z socialists does China have? These kids were indoctrinated by our own government and our Department of Education, as it were. So I'm not really worried about that. But like I stated before, if these people have stock in Meta or voted for the law to ban TikTok, vote them out. It's plain and simple. We no need to play any games or mince any words. Vote them out. Vote them out. But in more riveting news, because it is more riveting news coming, the ghost of Alcatraz has returned. We can call him Casper, if you will. But this is a beautiful thing. Trump has moved to reopen the infamous Alcatraz. On May 4th, 2025, President Trump announced that he is directing the Federal Bureau of Prisons to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz. It's a prison in the San Francisco Bay that has been famed to have all of the most infamous criminals ever to walk the halls. And some say it's haunted, if you believe that kind of thing, but we don't, because we love Jesus and know that they're demons and not ghosts. But I digress. The purpose of reopening this prison is the goal is essentially to house the dregs of society, the awful people, the evil people. And I think this is a much better idea than, deporting American citizens, albeit they might be the most grotesque, heinous individuals on the planet, to another country. They are still, unfortunately, in this case, American citizens, but it is what it is. So Alcatraz is one of those situations that's been around for a long time. It was operational from 1934 to 1963, which is pretty old. I mean, this is right in the throes of the Great Depression. And it's known for housing notorious criminals like Al Capone, Robert Stroud, the Birdman. You get it. But I'm actually really interested in seeing how this plays out and what, once opened, what the, left has to say about this, because, they're going to say something because they prefer protecting criminals and illegals more than American people. The political reactions to this has sparked a variety of reactions all the way across the board initially, but it's kind of like that knee-jerk reaction. But I am really interested in seeing what the long-term talking points of this will be. The Bureau of Prisons will begin planning reconstruction and operational logistics for this infamous prison, although there is no real specific timeline. So we will be following up on this as much as possible. So that is a pretty interesting thing. Also, I'm going to give a go-ahead nod to the Washington Post for this picture, because I don't steal intellectual property. This is a beautiful picture, even though it's a prison. Look at it. Gorgeous. In other news, we're going to get Waltz up out of here. We're going to waltz him right up out of here, because Mike Waltz has been temporarily replaced by Marco Rubio. Given the scandals with the whole Signal thing, Mike Waltz is gone. Yeah. He's no longer the national security advisor, and nor should he be, because he's pretty stupid, if you will. So is Pete Hegseth in some way, shape, or form. But Mike Waltz, you were the head of national security. So the fact of the matter that you're making the mistakes you're making is kind of preposterous. They are citing a loss of confidence from other administration officials in Mike Waltz. So off with his head, as it should be and should stay that way. Waltz's tenure has been marked by controversies, including the allegations of leaking sensitive information, which reportedly contributed to the decisions to let him go. Really and truly, I don't have much to say on this matter. I'm not one of those people that just buy into a person. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake, and you gotta go. It is what it is. We're not gonna mince words or bite nails over it. But more importantly, we are going to get rid of, wait a minute, that's the wrong one. This one right here. Yes. Trump is defunding NPR and PBS. How can Trump defund a network? Well, these networks are receiving taxpayer money. So no more taxpayer money will be given to them. President Trump has signed an executive order ordering the direction an executive order directing corporations for public broadcasting to cease federal funding for both NPR and PBS. His reason behind this is that the administration argues that the public broadcasting should be not reliant on federal government funding. Because why are we, let's be for real. Why are we funding any news outlet? And I think this should be the beginning of a beautiful relationship of all networks who receive any federal funding lose that funding. CNN will survive. Fox will survive because they receive federal funding. So does CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC. They all receive federal funding. If it's not C-SPAN, it should be removed. Take the money. So NPR and PBS both of the organizations have expressed a strong opposition to this directive, stating that it will undermine their ability to provide news. PBS, didn't you turn around and perpetuate transgenderism and make two daddies on a TV show? You don't deserve anything. So what I don't have up here, and I'm going to tease until more information comes out about it, Discord is being bought out. The owner and creator of Discord is stepping down, and a potential buyer is Blizzard. And if anybody plays video games, they should know who Blizzard is. We don't like them. They ruin things, quite assuredly. And this might have more diabolical implications than we know, because as it stands right now, Discord is a protected server socializing app, if you will. But the problem is, if Blizzard takes over it, will they kowtow to the federal government and open all servers up to be able to be seen inside of? Because currently, as it stands, the only way information can escape Discord is if someone says something or shows something. Outside of that, the federal government has no way of getting into it. But like I said, we're going to hold off on that, and we're going to wait to see what comes to be from it. It's pretty exciting to see, but not in a good way. But in more important news, RFK is pushing to have candy and soda removed from food stamps. Look, I don't care what you say about this man, how you feel about this man. This is beautiful. RFK Jr. has suggested that SNAP programs, which helps with low-income families to afford nutritious food, should not profit they should prohibit the purchase of sugary drinks and candy. America is one of the most obese nations on the planet. And we're giving out all this free money, taxpayer money, to people that don't really necessarily earn it, so they can go buy crap to get fatter. Then they suck off of the health resources in this country, and we're left to foot the bill. So he is putting in efforts to ban a myriad of items from SNAP, which I cannot wait to see, because he's already gotten rid of some of these dyes that cause certain diseases. And you can say what you want, conspiratorial or not, or it's not enough of it to cause a problem. But if you drink it every day for a year, you're going to see issues from it. Let's be for real. Let's not be obtuse. But I am excited to see what he is going to do and continue to do in this realm of making America healthy again. MAHA, Maha, Maha. That's funny. In other news, North Korea goes for broke. Yes, North Korea, the bad Korea, the one that's on top is the bad one. Just so you guys know, because most of you don't know, because geography is not your friend. They go for broke, and they are mass producing the world's most powerful rocket launcher, 600 millimeters. It's the KN-25, which, if you guys don't understand what this means, 600 millimeters is massive and very, very destructive. Even if it doesn't have any explosive capacities, a 600 millimeter projectile hitting any area is going to cause massive amounts of damage. But with this, the American government has responded. Pete Hegseth directs the U.S. Army to develop a long-range missile systems, which we don't have a great amount of detail on, but I am pretty sure this was solely prompted to and as a response to what North Korea has been doing with their systems. So they would want a way to be able to combat these launchers. And what better way to do it than not having to get up close and personal if something ever happens with North Korea? We can nuck if you buck without having to nuck at all. We can just buck from a distance. Speaking of more Asians, the Chinese people are pissed. Chinese employees are protesting against their government over wages. There has been a significant unrest across China as workers protest against unpaid wages and unfair dismissals. They're getting fired for no reason. But you got to remember, this is what communism does. They pay you what they think you deserve and fire you when you complain. But the problem is, this instance of what they're doing is really, really showing face at all of the factories in China shutting down. So these dismissals and less pay are coming at the hand of the U.S. tariffs. And all the Democrats are saying that these tariffs aren't working. Well, if China keeps shutting down production and keeps firing people, trying to, make up the shortfall, or just not paying people to make up shortfall, eventually they're going to have a full-scale riot on their hands. Many of the factories are facing closure due to an economic slowdown. The economy is not slowing down. It's just that these tariffs are putting the good old stranglehold on them, and they can't take it. They can't take it, baby. They're getting this chokey choke. Some of us like to be choked, but not China, and neither do their employees. As it shows, China has a permanent youth class right now and a permanent elderly class of age demographics. Because of their, reproduction practices, which they stopped about 11 years ago, the country has not seen really any middle-aged people yet. And the youth, being as tech-savvy as they are, finding out things from around the world, and they're wondering why they're getting paid pennies on the dollars, almost 15 grand a year, when Americans can make anywhere starting out 30. So these people are working hard, doing a lot of work, and not getting paid much. So they're, protesting. I wonder if they'll face any firing squads like China used to do, or has China turned over a new leaf? Ultimately, there's been very little coverage on this, and I will keep you guys apprised to it as much as possible as time goes on, because this is a problem. Not just for China, but even us as well and the rest of the world that gets any of their products from China, even though I think more people should get more products from themselves or other places because China promotes slave labor. I don't want the people of China to suffer because it's their government ultimately doing this, not the people of China. Again, more Asian news. South Korea has challenged the United States in selling those damn maple leaves, aka Canadians, a bid for submarines, advanced submarines, $20 to $24 billion. Now, this is not the first time I've spoke about this, but the proposals are getting more and more serious, and the talks are getting more and more close to making a deal. The problem behind this is America has been the one to supply them with pretty much all of their militarized needs, but Canada is seeking other avenues as tariffs start to, choke on them. However, I don't think this is going to work out in the manner that they think, because America makes pretty much the best of everything when it comes to military stuff, because we kind of sort of have the corner on that market. But we will see. Also, South Korea, you are pretty close to us. You're pretty much, you're allies, because we have a military base over in your country, and the purpose of that is to protect you from North Korea. And we know that Kim Jong-un don't play, and I guarantee you, if America pulled out from South Korea, that Kim Jong-un would immediately start attacking. And the only reason he doesn't is because, you got Big Brother over there making sure you stay safe. So how about you try not to undercut the United States in its dealings and let Canada continue to suffer? Because F Canada. Just saying. In other news, Sovereignty wins the Kentucky Derby. So let's take a listen.
First of all, thank you. I gotta thank my Lord Jesus for giving me this Kentucky Derby win. It was him and S1E13 who got me all the way to the wire.
There you go. He's a little Italian man riding a big horse, and he gives thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, as he should. And what better name for a horse than sovereignty? Call me sovereign citizen if you want, but we were meant to be, per the construction of the Constitution of the United States, sovereign over the government, not the other way around. And it's about time that sovereignty reigns supreme. And the best way to do that is to give all praise to God and serve him as he deserves, and watch him rectify a lot of situations in our country. Because as it stands right now, Trump ain't a savior, and it never will be. But Jesus is. So I really thank that guy for speaking out for his beliefs on a win. And I honestly think he's doing it in a genuine nature, as opposed to some of these people who win Grammys. I like to thank God. Ooh. And then you see them at a Diddy party. Speaking of a Diddy party, guess what? The Diddy trial began. And that man is dropping names like a diss track. I'm excited to see what comes of this. I hope something comes of this, and not just, for theater. I don't want to be entertained. I want to see heads roll as it should. Another segment that I did not add that came in late, Anna Paulina Luna, I think that's her name, that she's from Florida, congresswoman. Yeah, she's challenging the Patriot Act. Hopefully she's challenging the USA Act, which I don't believe has sunsetted yet. But the Patriot Act has allowed the federal government to spy on its own people. It's what was used to spy on Trump by the Obama administration when he said he was going to run for office. Yeah. That magic wand seems to be chopping up dirty judges, and now opening the eyes of some Republicans to go after the right thing, because the deep state is steeped in the USA Act, aka Patriot Act, that was written by Joe Biden. You know, he bragged about that. I was the one that authored the Patriot Act. Yeah, you suck. You suck. I hope, retirement serves you well, but I think he's actually trying to look into doing acting now. He'll be someone's very weird and creepy grandpa in the movie coming to you soon. But I digress on that. If we can get rid of the USA Act and repeal it in its entirety, reinstate the Smith-Muntz Act, get rid of Section 230, we can have freedom of speech on platforms anywhere, everywhere within the United States, and not have to worry about our content being pulled down because we didn't say the right word. You can't say kill, you gotta say unalive, TikTok. Yeah, you can suck it. A time is coming where we will win, and I'm here for it. I'm really here for it. But in other news, check this out. The Dems keep rolling out like Autobots from their party. Watch this. Oh, nope. This is the sheriff guy, Sheriff Alex Villanova, or Villaneva, however you pronounce it. I'm not Latin, so I don't speak the language, but let's listen to what he has to say here.
I'm leaving the party of paid process, purple hair, and pronouns. I'm joining the party of faith, family, and freedom. I don't think we're going to see California red in our lifetimes, but I guarantee you we can make it purple. And we can make it work again, and let's make that happen.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's a sheriff in California. If more people start doing this and standing up for what's right and not what pays you, the world will change in its entirety. And it's a beautiful thing to see this happening more and more. North Carolina saw 2 seats flip which gave a majority to the Republicans in Congress in North Carolina. We see this happening in Florida. We see this happening in New York. We see this happening all over the United States because people are getting tired of playing the game of softball, and they want to play hardball now, where they realize that to play hardball, you got to tell the truth. There is no other way around it. I did skip a segment, which I'm going to go back to, which was a part of another segment. I don't know how I skipped it, but it is what it is. But this will lead into a shameless plug. This is from the AG's probing around trying to sue people. Check this out.
President Trump has now extended the clock and the deadline for the sale of TikTok by 75 days. It was supposed to kick in at midnight, but 75 days. This is the second time he has punted it a bit further out here. The president says he's signing an executive order because he does not want TikTok to go dark. Listen, you got 170 million people in this country who love it, but the deal requires more work to ensure all necessary approvals are signed. A plethora of companies and consortiums have been aiming to buy the wildly popular social media platform from Chinese parent company ByteDance because Congress voted to say, sell it to somebody in the U.S. or we are banning it.
Yeah, they really just want the algorithm. They're probably not going to get it, and that's what one of the major hangups is. But Trump really is showing that he is pro you being able to share your thoughts online. And I'm pretty excited to see the potentiality of it becoming an American company, not as a whole, because ByteDance will still own TikTok, but not the American segment of TikTok. And if we can get this app here and Trump continues to do what he is doing and the other Republican representatives keep trying to quash out the stranglehold that they have on the American people through, the USA Act and the repealing of the Smith-Muntz Act and the implementation of Section 230, which I mentioned earlier, we will see true freedom of speech. And there's no such thing as hate speech. It's just speech that you hate. And there's no such thing as, inflammatory speech. These are all adjectives added to what speech is and what people don't like. We don't play that. And the shameless plug is, which I don't have a picture of it, but if you guys will come and watch on Friday, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be speaking with, personally, one of the individuals trying to purchase TikTok. Yeah. His name is Reed Rasner. He's a young man that is exploded financially. He purchased a company that he worked for as a young teen, turned it around and made it more profitable, and then sold it for millions of dollars. And he has not stopped since. I think he's around 41, 42 years old, and he is, doing the thing. He is living the American dream. And he started out with no capital. So it can still be done. So he will be joining me on my TikTok platform, American Lumberjack with the D and the flag, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Friday, and we're going to grill him a little bit. I promise not to go too hard on him because I did get to talk to his team for an extended amount of time, and I am interested in seeing what he can do if he can purchase it. What I find funny is I found out that it wasn't just Amazon or Oracle that was interested in it. Several other companies are, like OnlyFans. Could you imagine if OnlyFans bought TikTok? What it would look like? There would be spicy links everywhere. And so I don't think the American public would be for, TikTok being bought out by OnlyFans. Even though OnlyFans originally was supposed to be a place for people to have their fans come, it just turned into a slut fest. Male sluts and female sluts. Yep. There's no other prettier way to put it. It's a slut fest. And if you see those people with those links in their bios, don't click them. Flee from temptation. In other words, don't fall for it. But I thought that was funny when I found out that OnlyFans had put in a bid for TikTok. But right now, Reed Rasner and his team are the front runners because they're offering the federal government exactly what they want in the deal, which we will cover more tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my platform, American Lumberjack, as it stands. In In closing, our Bible verse of the day, Job 14:14. If a man shall die, shall he live again? If all the days of my appointed time, I will wait till my change has come. You guys make sure you don't miss the forest through the trees, and have a good day. See you next time.